Welcome everyone to our new tutorial, which I will try to explain about one of the main and super important elements of our calculator, which is the element formula. It looks like an engine of our calculator because here we need to write down our formulas, it will do the calculations, and the calculator that I picked for today is this amazing salary calculator. At the end of our video, I will also try to explain the logic behind of this calculator, and we will together upgrade this calculator using the power of the formula. In that case, let me add some formula field. On the right side here you can see there is a sidebar, a period. In the menu of the sidebar we have two options. The first one is element. In the element section we can give some title to our field. For example, let me call this field as total, and the next one is a field that we need to write down our formula. Actually, we're going to talk about this field in detail after some time, so right now I'm going to skip it. In the settings, we have three settings that we can play. The first one is show alternative symbol. Before turning this option on, I'm going to show in a preview. Right now our total is being displayed with a dollar sign, which is our default currency sign, but I can change the symbol to the symbol that I wanted using this option. I'm gonna indicate it to this alternative symbol field. Let me write down percentage, and instead of dollar, percentage will be displayed like this. And the next one is hidden by default. As other elements of our calculator, formula fields also can be hidden by default, so we can show them again once we need them using the conditions. For example, if I enable this option in the preview, here you can see there is no any total fields. In that case, let me try to explain this field in detail. Actually, you can create new rows by pressing enter like this, and we have introduced a syntax highlighting in this time. Anything inside of this block will be highlighted as blue. For example, addition, subtraction, division, modulo, multiplication, if, else, and so anything inside of this block. Instead of long tail shortcodes, we have introduced labeling with some letters like B, C, D, F, G. So if you want to see the shortcut of the particular element, you need to hover, and in the caption here we can see job title has drop down field ID 1 shortcode. If I want to put them, they will be highlighted with green, and the numbers will be highlighted with black, and anything rather than them will also be highlighted as black. For example, this kind of letters, let's say. And if you did some misspelling, for example, instead of and you write two D's, it will also highlight it as black, and you can know it's not and but it's ended with double D. In that case, let's see the operators one by one. Let's start with basic arithmetic operators: addition, subtraction, division, modulo, and multiplication. I'm gonna use F and G in my examples. F plus G will give us the sum of these two values. For example, in the preview, our A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. But if I want to add 29 by 1, it will give me 30 as a result. And the same thing with subtraction, and when it comes to modulo, it will return the remainder of the division if I divide F by G, let's say. For example, I'm gonna indicate 31, and if I select 3, it will give me 1 in the result. Why? Because if we divide 31 by 3, we get 1 as a remainder. And the same thing can be said to the multiplication also. If I, for example, multiply 10 with 5, I get 50 as a result. Parentheses will be used exactly same in the mathematics. It will give some priority to the calculations inside of it. For example, if I want to add 1 plus inside of parentheses, F plus 2 multiplied by G. First, the calculator gonna add 2 to F, and it will multiply the result with G and take the summation of the all calculations with 1. For example, if I write down, let's say 13 and 5, I need to get 76 as a result. Here we can see the result itself. The next one is power. So you can calculate the power of some sort of number or the elements. Let's say I want to calculate the G's power of F. For example, instead of them, if I write 2 and 5, it will give me 2 and 5, it will give me the fifth power of 2, which is 32. Instead of numbers, I can use the letters. So before the comma, I'm gonna write F, and after the comma, I'm gonna write G. So if I select 8 here, and if I want to calculate the cube of the 8, it will give me 512 as a result. The next one is the square root. It will gonna take the square root of some number inside of the parentheses. So what's the square root of 2? It is equal to 1.41, yeah, like this. For example, if I indicate G here, it will calculate the square root of the thing inside of G, for example 30. So this is the square root of 30 in that case. And the next one is if-else conditions, but we're going to talk about them a little bit later once we complete mathematics part. So when it comes to mathematics, next one is this ABS. It will calculate the absolute value of the number or the elements inside of the parentheses. If I, for example, write down -7, it will return me 7 as a result. And the next one is round, ceil, and floor. So when it comes to them, I will prefer to do something like this. I'm gonna call the field as round, and I'm gonna write down round, and inside of the parentheses I'm gonna write down 2.3. I'm gonna add another formula, and I will call it as ceil, and in the formula I'm gonna write down ceil 2.3. I will save it, and I will add another formula field, and I will call it as floor, and I'm gonna write down floor 2.3. In the preview, here we can see round is equal to 2, ceil is equal to 3, and floor is equal to 2. Why? Round gonna round the element inside of the parentheses in a standard way. For example, if there is 2.3, it will be equal to 2, but if it's 2.6, it will be equal to 3. Ceil will round up the number to the nearest integer. What is the nearest integer comes after 2.3. It is equal to 3. That's why 3 is being displayed here. And the next one is floor. It will round down the number to the nearest integer. So what is the integer comes before 2.3? It is equal to 2. That's why 2 is being displayed. I think right now we got a difference between round, ceil, and floor. So in that case, I'm going to remove them. And I will call this round field as total. Let me bring the name back. And we have completed the part with mathematics. And the next one is if-else conditions. What are they? Let me put if. The thing inside of the parentheses will be called as condition. And the instructions inside of the curly braces call it as block. So based on the condition is true or false, this block will be executed or will not be executed. What kind of conditions can we write in our formula field? We can write conditions using is less than, is greater than, is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to, is not equal to, or is equal to. And we can use also and or logical operators as well. So let's see some example. I'm gonna write a condition like f is greater than g. If f is greater than g, I need to show the multiplication of these two elements. Let me save it, otherwise 0 will be displayed. Right now our total is equal to 0. If I indicate 3 as b, it's still 0 because our f, which is a, is not greater than 3. But if I change the value of a to some value which is greater than b, for example is 20, our total is equal to 60, which is 20 multiplied by 3. And I think right now you got what is if. And what is if else? I'm gonna remove all of them and I will put if else. If the condition is true, the block after if will be executed. If it's false, the block after else will be executed. Let me write down a condition. Let's say if f is equal to g, I'm gonna show the sum of these two elements. Else, once it's not true, I'm gonna show the multiplication of them. In the preview, right now, our both a and b is equal to 0. And if I'm gonna change the value of a and b to this. And right now, a multiplied b is being displayed. because 34 is not equal to 2. But if I make both of them 50, let's say, or we can say right now our total is equal to 100, which is 50 plus 50, f plus g. I think right now we understand what is if else. Actually, we can use also if else if conditions. What are they? So let me show. After else, I can open another if and write down my condition, and I can conclude with else again. How it works, let's see. I will tell if f is equal to 10, I'm gonna show 100. Else, if f is equal to 15, I'm gonna show f multiplied by g. Else, I'm gonna show 77. In that case, if our f is equal to 10, the first block will be executed. And if it's not true, my calculator gonna see the another if, another condition. It will check if f is equal to 15, I'm gonna show f multiplied by g. But if both of these conditions are false, we can execute the last block after else, which is 77. Let me save it, and in the preview, here we can see 77 is being displayed because both a and b is equal to 0. But if I indicate something like this, let's say I'm going to indicate 50 as b and 10 as a, here we can see our total is equal to 100. And if I indicate 15, it's equal to 750. And any other values, it will be equal to 77. It doesn't matter which value. Actually, I think you got the logic behind if or else if, and it's a time to discuss about the conditional bounds. Basically, you can use conditional bounds with logical operators and or. So let me put and I'm gonna write a condition like this. If f is greater than 80 and if f is less than 90, I need to display f divided by g, which is a divided by b. What does it mean? And makes conditional bound true if and only if the conditions before and after and are true. If any of them is false, the whole conditional bound will be false. Let me save it and see in the preview. I'm gonna indicate 50 as b, and any other value, our total is equal to 0. But if I select some value which is between 80 and 90, here we can see our total is equal to 164, which is 82 divided by 50. It will be easy to catch if I select 10 here. Here we can see the change. But if I exceed the limit, it is 0 again. I think you got and let's see or. When it comes to or, it is enough. One of the conditions is true to make the whole conditional bound true. It doesn't matter the condition before or after or. Let me, for example, write down if our f is equal to 10 or if our f is equal to 9, I need to show 77. Otherwise, I'm gonna show 100. I'm gonna save it. In the preview, here we can see our total is equal to 100. But if I select 90, our total is equal to 77. Or if I select 10, it is 77 again. I think right now you got the logic of the and or. And that was the last part. I have completed all of the elements inside of the field, I mean the formula field. And right now it's a time to discuss about our salary calculator. Let me show in the preview. So we have three jobs: sales assistant, sales manager, and sales manager assistant. And we are the company works with sales. Let me show in a spreadsheet. For example, I'm gonna give the salary to my sales assistant based on my sales. If my sales ranges between 0 to 40,000, I'm gonna give the 1.8% of the sales to my sales assistant. For the sales starting from 40,000 and ends with 70,000, I'm gonna give the 2.5% of the sales to my sales assistant. What does it mean? For example, if let's assume our company made $57,000 in the last month, and for the initial 40,000, I'm gonna give the 1.8% of the money to my sales assistant, and for the rest 70,000, I'm gonna calculate the salary with 2.5% range. And the same logic to the rest of them. If the sales were the difference between 70,000 and 100,000, I'm gonna give the 3% of the money, and if it's greater than 100,000, I'm gonna give the 4% of the money. To understand in detail, let me indicate 150,000 as a sale of the last month. For the initial 40,000, I'm gonna calculate the salary with 1.8%, and for the rest 30,000, I'm gonna calculate the salary with 2.5%. For the next 30,000, I'm gonna calculate the salary with 3%. For the next 50,000 part, I'm gonna give the salary with 4% rate. So the calculation should be done like this. I think right now we got the logic behind of our calculation, so let's try to implement it using our calculator. What we have one quantity field, this one, and we also give some penalty if the user did some, for example, mistakes, let's say. And A and B fields are not required, so I'm gonna delete them. They were just for the demonstration to you. So let's try to write down our total. So as I said, if the sales is less than or equal to 40,000, I'm gonna give the salary with 1.8% range. In that case, I'm gonna multiply C by 0.018. It will give me 1.8% of the salary. And I will continue else if C is greater than 40,000 and C is less than or equal to 70,000. I'm gonna give the salary like this. For the initial 40,000 part, instead of C, I'm gonna write down 40,000 in that case. I'm gonna write down 0.018 plus, and for the rest of the money, which is equal to C minus 40,000. Yeah, I'm gonna calculate the price with 2.5% range, and after it, else if C is greater than 70,000 and C is less than or equal to 100,000, I'm gonna calculate the price like this. So I'm gonna copy this one and I will paste it here, and instead of this, I'm gonna write down 30,000, and for the rest of the sales, I'm gonna subtract 70,000, and I will get the rest of the salary. I'm gonna calculate the salary with 3% rate, and here comes the last part. Else if C is greater than 100,000, I'm gonna calculate the price like this. So I'm gonna copy it and I will paste it here, and for this one I'm gonna write down, oh my bad, I'm gonna write down 30,000, and I will add C minus 100,000 multiplied by 0.04. Great. Else I need to display 0. Great, let's see whether it works or not. I'm gonna save it, and in the preview, if I indicate let's say 1,000, it should be equal to $18. If it is 10,000, it is equal to 180. But if it is equal to 70,000, it should be equal to 1,480. and $70. Great, we are done with the first part. We have successfully calculated the salary based on the sales, and let's move to the next part of our discussion. Let's assume I want to make this penalty range slider work. If I indicate, let's say 50% here, there should be one formula to indicate the 50% of the total salary, and we're going to create another formula field to indicate the final salary with penalty. But before that, let's change the position of this percentage sign. I guess it should be on the right side of the number. Let me go to penalty, and I'm gonna change the position on the right. And here you can see right now percentage is being positioned on the right side of the volley. I apologize for this. And let me go ahead and create one formula field. I'm gonna give a title as penalty, and I will write down the formula something like this: total multiplied by, I'm gonna open a parenthesis. Inside of the parenthesis, I'm gonna divide this penalty by 100. In that case, I can get some percentage of the total based on the penalty. If you paid attention, I've used one trick here. I have used one formula field inside of another formula field. Is it possible? Yes, it is. I've just done it. But there is one tiny rule that you need to pay attention. Elements which has greater ID cannot be used inside of the elements which has lower ID. It means that we cannot use penalty inside of total, but we can freely use total inside of penalty. Why? Because total shares ID 5 and penalty shares ID 6. Here we can see inside of total we don't have penalty. This is not the penalty we wanted. This is the penalty range field ID 3. It's not a formula field. If I create another formula and I will give a title as test, inside of it we can use both total and penalty, but we cannot use this test neither inside of this penalty nor inside of the total. I think right now we got the logic. I'm gonna delete this element. And let's see the preview whether our range slider works or not. Of course it will work. I'm gonna give some sales, and if I indicate 50%, it should show me the roughly half of the salary. Where it worked. I can change the symbol of the penalty to $- to indicate some dot, let's say like this. So let me go ahead and see in the preview. I'm gonna give some sales. Remove the 0 here, and here we can see right now it's being displayed with $, which is pretty beautiful and logical. Let me go ahead and create another formula field, and I will give a title as final salary with penalty. And the formula is pretty simple. It's just subtraction of this total and penalty. And let's see. So if our sales is 10,000 and we have 35% penalty, and final salary with penalty is just subtraction of this total and penalty, which is equal to $117. Great, we are done. So let's try to upgrade it more. Let's say I want to see this final salary with penalty part if and only if we have some penalty. If our penalty is equals to 0, this final salary with penalty should be hidden. In that case, we can use the hidden by default option. I'm gonna create one condition. First, I'm gonna make a connection between penalty range slider and this total field. I will add condition. If the range slider is not equal to 0, we're gonna show the particular field. If it's 0, we will hide it. Here you can see there is no any final salary with penalty, but if I change this range slider to some number, it will be visible. Great, very simple, easy. And last but not least, we have one job to do, and it's pretty interesting. We have job title if you paid attention, and we have sales assistant, sales manager, and sales manager assistant. Let me show you in the spreadsheet. Here we can see we share different percentage rates when it comes to calculating the salary for the sales assistant, sales manager assistant, and sales manager. How can we calculate it using a formula? Is there some trick? So yes, it is. I'm gonna show you right now how can we implement it using formula field. I will go back to the calculator, and in the job title here we can see we have some values for the particular job titles. For example, sales assistant's value is equal to 1, and sales manager's value is equal to 2, and sales manager assistant's value is equal to 3. So basically we can use some condition inside of our formula to calculate the price, the salary, with different rates. First I'm gonna put them down, and I'm gonna create a condition. Here we can see we have job title, which is equal to B. If this job title is equal to 1, I'm gonna calculate the price for sales assistant, and else if this B is equal to 2, I'm gonna calculate it for sales manager or assistant or something like this for another person. Yeah, and I can continue till the end with this logic, but I guess it is enough to create these two fields. If it's not equal to this one, I'm gonna just show 0. In that case, let me just implement the logic for the one part, and you can do the next job title on your own to check whether you understand or not. Okay, I'm gonna just delete them, and if you remember, B was sales assistant, so I'm gonna copy this whole code and I will paste it here. Great, and I'm gonna remove this else0 part from it, and this whole part is responsible for calculating the salary with 1.8 range for the initial price. And for the B is equal to case, I'm gonna just copy all of this formula and I will paste it here, and I'm gonna just change the percentages. Okay, I'm gonna just speed up the process. So I have changed it. I'm gonna save the calculator, and in the preview let's indicate 70,000, and I will give job title as sales assistant, and it's equal to $1,470 for sales assistant. But for the sales manager, it should be equal to 190,000, and here it is. We can see the same sales but different percentages. I can give some penalty, and we are done. You can just implement it for sales manager assistant as well on your own. Try to do it, okay? I think it is the end of our video tutorial. If you liked it, please do not forget to give the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you would like to see some sort of videos on our channel, address them in comments too. Thanks for watching.